When you start a game of EU4, it doesn't matter if you already have more than 3000 hours under your belt, or you just launched the game for the first time. It's always the same question: which nation should I play? If you are a new player, you may be overwhelmed by the sheer number of choices, and if you are a seasoned player, you're probably thinking, should I blob again? Should I colonize? Maybe I can play tall for once? Do I really need to waste 50 more hours on this goddamn game that gives PU over Commonwealth to goddamn Spain, and now I need to fight half the Europe for 2 bad provinces? In both cases, I have a couple of questions for you. Do you like fish and chips? Do you hate baguette? Do you love ships? And I mean heavy ships, biggest you can build, and call them Warrior or Defiance or something similar. Not the small ones that go pew pew, but the ones that go... If Pope was there to forbid you to divorce your wife and marry a much younger mistress in hope she will bear you a male heir, would you create completely new religion that puts you, the king, above the church and allows you to behead as many wives as you want without consequences? Would you do it? If you answered yes to most of these questions, then England is the right nation for you. England starts in an interesting place, with most of the land owned on the Isles and just a couple of provinces on the mainland Europe. That means that you're mostly isolated, with your capital securely placed behind the English Channel and your mighty fleet. And only nation that can get to you on foot are Scotland to the north and Irish miners to the west. Now, England has some issues in the beginning of the game, and if you know how to overcome them, the world is your oyster. First issue, your ruler. He is just the worst you can get if you play this game. With 3 zeros for stats, he's there to heavily slow down your progress. And not only that, because he is so goddamn awful, he immediately starts disaster for your nation, War of the Roses. This disaster can be slowed down if you fulfill some conditions and can be stopped for good if you get an heir, but I wouldn't count on that, because beside being a bad ruler, your king is infertile, giving you minus 50% chance of a new heir. A man would think that living next to the sea would help your soldiers learn how to swim, but it seems I could be wrong. When that disaster fires, and unless RNG gods are on your side, it surely will fire, you will get a choice to support one of the noble houses, Lancaster or York. Just pick the one with better stats. It doesn't matter really. You just need to kill pretender rebels, free the provinces they took and raise stability to 1. Disaster will end, and after some time you will get an option to put Tudor on the throne, because that's the best thing to do. Now, this disaster doesn't sound so bad on its own, but we need to talk about the other issue we need to deal with. And it's France. It's always those French. You see, there is this one province that French people say it's their core, this one right here, and that will trigger an event called Surrender of Men. There are 2 options for you to choose from: surrender the province or decline the demands and go to war with France. In this war you will be the aggressor, so you can't call your allies unless you promise them some land, but France will call all of their friends. And we all know we can't let them have that province. What would world think about us after that? So we can do one of 2 things. Easier but much slower one is to release all the vassals on the mainland before the event fires, so technically you don't own the province, Normandy owns it. And event fires, giving you 1 stab and your vassal keeps the province. After that, you use missions you got from Rule Britannia DLC, you build 2 force limit using mercs, get mission to subjugate Scotland, enable scutage on all of your vassals so they don't get called to war, Declare on Scotland, and since they are guaranteed or even allied to France, you get to fight both of them. Now France can't siege your vessels, since they are not in the war, and if you use your ships wisely, they can't get their troops across the channel, so you should completely occupy Scotland in no time. Don't peace out yet though, build more troops so you have more than French, pick morale advisor if you can, and go siege Paris. Put all your troops there so they avoid attacking you, you just need to win the siege. And why is that important? Because if you control Paris, you can pick a mission to subjugate France. So when you recover from this war and truce is gone, you can force a PU over France in the next war. But this takes some time. That's why there is another option. You can always just decline giving Maine without all the fuss and just teach French a lesson. Sounds easy? It's not. They have strong troops, they have allies, and you have to siege most of their land for this to work. You will most probably lose all of your manpower and you will need to hire mercs. That means loans, a lot of loans. But it's only money. If you win, you have France under you in just one war, and you can repay loans later, just like in real life. Also, there is a high probability that War of the Roses will fire while you are fighting this war. So that's another problem you need to deal with, and with some luck and persistence you will win. It will be difficult to put France under control since they will have max liberty desire, so use all of your prestige to placate their rulers and leave them in debt so they can't train troops to the limit, and just recover your economy. In the meantime, you can unite British Isles by taking Scotland if you already didn't, and Irish miners. After that you should focus on exploration ideas, because of course you will colonize. Maybe you can conquer Brittany in your spare time, send your ships to find India, I mean the New World. But you should also think about invading Denmark. If you take Iceland from Norway, you should be in colonization range of Eastern North America. What is Britain without their good friends, the 13 colonies? Taxes need to come from somewhere, right? But you need to form them first. So it's just clicking and waiting game now. With the new patch you can even expel minorities. One way to get rid of those damn Scots, someone would say. And you start colonizing, and colonizing, and colonizing, and colonizing, and colonizing. Even though it's quite boring, colonization is quite helpful if you have ambitions to invade Europe or expand anywhere. Both trade companies and colonial nations help you a lot by steering trade to the English Channel, which is quite rich already, but if you focus most of the trade routes to your home node, you will be swimming in money. And money means mercs, and mercs mean winning a war. If you spam them long enough, every nation will fall before you. You just need that steady stream of sweet ducats, and England is best in collecting gold. Also to mention, soon after Reformation hits, you will be given a choice to form a new church, Anglican Church. And honestly, beside role-playing value, that religion is pretty bad. If you don't care about that, just stick with Protestant or Reformed. Both are much better than Anglican, especially Protestant since it gives you bonus to settlers, and since you are playing Britain now, it's your job to colonize everything you find. Beside colonization, English and GB missions can give you a lot of options and ways to expand, through islands to Egypt and Africa, and of course to India. If you want, you can even set your goal to become Emperor of HRE. But always remember, your main quest is to give every person on the planet a cup of tea. All in all, whether you are a new player or a seasoned one, my opinion is that you need to play England. First time or for the 15th time. I had a lot of fun in my game, there is a lot of flavor to it, events are numerous and interesting, and you have a lot of ways to expand. Or play tall, if that suits you.